Chapter 4 of The Adopting of Rosa Marie by Carol Watson Rankin. An unusual evening. Mabel looked in dismay at Rosa Marie. "Where do you suppose your mother is?" she demanded. It was useless, however, to question Rosa Marie. That stolid young person was as uncommunicative as what Marjorie called the little stuffed Indians in the Washington Museum. The Indians to whom Marjorie referred were made of wax. Rosa Marie seemed more like a little wooden Indian. The countenance of little Anne Halliday changed with every moment, but Rosa Marie's wore only one expression. Perhaps it had only one to wear. "I say," said Mabel, gently shaking her small brown charge by the shoulders, "where does your mother usually go when she isn't home?" A surprised grunt was the only response. Rosa Marie, too suddenly released, sat heavily on the ground, thoughtfully scratched up the surface, and filled her lap with handfuls of loose, unattractive earth. "Goodness, what an untidy child!" cried Mabel, snatching her up and shaking her, although Rosa Marie's weight made her youthful guardian stagger. "I wanted your mother to see you clean for once. Here, sit on this stick of wood. I suppose we'll just have to wait and wait until somebody comes. Well, sit in the sand if you want to. I'm tired of picking you up." Rosa Marie's home was in rather an attractive spot. The big, quiet lake was smooth as glass, and every object along its picturesque bank was mirrored faithfully in the quiet depths. The western sky was faintly tinged with red. Against it the spires and tall roofs of the town stood out sharply, but at this quiet hour they seemed very far away. Mabel, seated on the wooden box that she had placed under the window, leaned back against the house and clasped her hands about her knees, while she gazed dreamily at the picture and listened with enjoyment to the faint lap of the quiet water on the pebbled beach. Both Mabel and Rosa Marie had had a busy day. Both had taken unusual exercise, and now all the sights and sounds were soothing, soothing. You can guess what happened. Both little girls fell asleep. Rosa Marie, flat on her stomach, pillowed her head on her chubby arms. Mabel's head, drooping slowly forward, grew heavier and heavier until finally it touched her knees. An hour later the sleepy head had grown so very heavy that it pulled Mabel right off the box and tumbled her over in a confused, astonished heap on the ground. "My goodness!" gasped Mabel, still on hands and knees. "Where am I, anyway? Is this Saturday or Sunday? Why, it's all dark! This isn't my room. Why, I'm outdoors! How did I get outdoors?" Mabel stood up, took a step forward, stumbled over Rosa Marie, and went down on all fours. "What's that?" gasped bewildered Mabel, groping with her hands. She felt the rough black head, the plump body, the round legs, the bare feet of her sleeping charge. Memory returned. "Why, it's Rosa Marie, and we're waiting here by the lake for her mother. Ugh, it must be midnight." But it wasn't. It was just exactly 20 minutes after 7 o'clock. But with the autumn sun gone early to bed, it certainly seemed very much later. The house was still deserted. "I guess," said Mabel, feeling about in the dark for Rosa Marie's fat hand, "we'd better go home, or someplace. Come, Rosa Marie, wake up. I'm going to take you home with me." "Oh, please wake up. There's nobody here but us. It's way in the middle of the night, and there might be anything in those awfully black bushes." But Rosa Marie, deprived of her noontide nap, slumbered on. Mabel shook her. "Do hurry," pleaded frightened Mabel. "I don't like it here." It was anything but an easy task for Mabel to drag the sleeping child to her feet, but she did it. Rosa Marie, however, immediately dropped to earth again. During the day she had seemed stiff, but now, unfortunately, she proved most distressingly limber. She seemed, in fact, to possess more than the usual number of joints, and discouraged Mabel began to fear that each joint was reversible. "Goodness!" breathed Mabel, when Rosa Marie's knees failed for the 7th time. "It seems wicked to shake you very hard, but I've got to." Even with vigorous and prolonged shakings, it took time to get Rosa Marie firmly established on her feet, and the children had walked more than a block of the homeward way before Rosa Marie opened one blinking eye under the street lamp. If it had been difficult to make the uphill journey in broad daylight with Rosa Marie wide awake and moderately willing, it was now a doubly difficult matter with that young person half or 3/4 asleep and most decidedly unwilling. "I wish to goodness," grumbled Mabel, stumbling along in the dark, "that I'd borrowed a real baby and not a heathen." The longest journey has an end. The children reached Dandelion Cottage at last. Mabel found the key, unlocked the door, tumbled Rosa Marie, clothes and all, into the middle of the spare room bed, waited just long enough to make certain that the Indian baby slept. Then, reassured by gentle half-breed snores, Mabel, still supposing the time to be midnight, ran home, climbed into her own bed nearly an hour earlier than usual, and was soon sound asleep. Her mind was too full of other matters to wonder why the front door was unlocked at so late an hour. Mrs. Bennet, dressing to go to a party, heard her daughter come in. "How fortunate," said she. "Now I shan't have to go to Jean's and Marjorie's and Betty's to hunt for Mabel. She must be tired tonight. She doesn't often go to bed so early." Chapter 5